next to our session, welcoming remarks from the head of Master's Program in Education, Maslathif Dwi Purnomo, Ph.D. Please, the time is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's thank Allah who has given us some mercy and blessings so we can step our feet and join together in this good meeting today. And the blessing and peace of Allah just for our Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thanks a lot. Very distinguished lecture for today. An awesome and fantastic speaker will be my friend William Vickery, Ph.D. from the USA. I'm very happy today because I can see and meet together with my friend William. He is always smile in every condition, yeah. Okay, how are you? How are you, William? All good, yeah. Thank you so
Very
much for
good.
coming
Yeah,
today.
thank you.
All right, and
Thank
the
you,
second
Masa,
one
for
is
inviting
for
me.
our Deputy Dean 2, Dr. Muhammad Dalimunthe, and my thank you so much for the Master of Ceremony, Khairani Rizka, to deliver and accompany us together for this event graduate academic forum today. And thanks a lot for all students, MTBI students, Master's Program in English Education students, enrollment 2025 and 2024. Yeah, I just want to let you know, my friend William Vickery, that this event is held by our study program, Master's Program in English Education. This is twice a month activities that serve us to enhance our capacity in English language teaching and learning. We usually invited the speaker for all around Indonesian people and as well as from the abroad, like Australia and then Philippines and then Malaysia and etc. And now we are inviting you as a speaker from the USA, from the RELO USA. So I do hope that you are going to give us any experience regarding how to enhance our capability and capacity to be a good teacher and to face any opportunities around the world, to be a global teachers competence, something like that. Therefore, we do hope that you can share with us any experiences you gain from several countries like China, then Vietnam, America as well, and etc. So we are as a master's students, my master's students will have the planning to go abroad, yeah, to continue their study to PhD and etc. to America, to Vietnam and etc. something like that, right? And the second one, I also want to let my students know that William will have several program with us. We are planning to have something like 3 months program for enhancing the students' capacity in learning English, something like a writing and then a teaching methodology, and then how to learn more about the teaching strategies and etc. Teaching English strategies and etc. So that we're gonna do this program next month with William. We are planning for once a month. So William will have three times meeting with us together, and William will give you any important information and fantastic experience that you can gain in MTBI with William's programs. Right. Last but not least, thanks a lot for your coming today, William. Thanks a lot for your willingness to be a speaker. Thanks a lot for your experience, your fantastic knowledge that will be given to us together here. I do hope that you are enjoying with our students, and this is our student from Master's Program in English Education. Thanks a lot for all. Thanks a lot for the audience. Thanks a lot for our Deputy Dean 2, Professor Dr. Muhammad Dalimunthe M.Hum, and etc. Thank you so much for your blessed attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much to the head of the master's program in English education for the welcoming remarks and encouraging words for all of us. We truly appreciate the support and motivation for the success and of today's academic forum. So now we move to the next session. Welcoming remarks from the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training, UIN of the Sumatera, Dr. Muhammad Dalimunthe M.Hum. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Dr. William Vickery. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
The Honorable, the head of Master Grade English Education, and also the Honorable, our guest lecturers, Dr. William Vickery from RELO USA, and also my beloved students of Master Grade programs, Fakultas Tarbiyah, UINSU Sumatera Utara. I'm Muhammad Dalimunthe as a representation of Tarbiyah faculty dean, because at the same time our dean cannot enter these meetings. Okay, he has a particular work that should be done at the same time, so he instructs me to replace her. Okay, to give a little remark, to open this great moment. Ladies and gentlemen, when I see the titles of these meetings, is a great title. Okay, that is Enhancing English Teachers' Quality and Global Opportunity. This is a good time for us to discuss it over, to respond the globalizations of language teachings in terms of responding the developments of language used in the world. When we talk about the teacher's quality in the future times, at least there are some importance should be close pay attention by you as a prospective English teachers. The future challenges will be faced by you as English teachers is AI roles. We know that AI almost replace us to give information to our student. Any single information can be got by students through AI. If we don't want to leave behind by AI, so we have to update the experience, the knowledge of ours as English teachers. But don't worry, one thing that cannot be replaced by AI. Again, one thing cannot be replaced by AI. AI cannot build student characteristic. Yeah, AI cannot build student character. AI has no sense of figurative. So, okay, by combining your technological use and your knowledge to build student characteristic or characteristic buildings of students, AI cannot, okay, better than you as English teachers. So that's why, as a prospective teachers, the possible challenges should be thought by us in order AI is not better than us. That's the one challenges. Another challenge is, I just want to remind you as students of English department. Another challenge is, in the future time, classroom management will be changed. Okay, not only in the future, in the current, the classroom management has been changed. What we call inclusive classroom management. Inclusive classroom management. As along with teachers, you have to be able to manage diversity of students net, diversity of student population. So the skills of classroom management also will be needed for you as a prospective teacher. And of course, I will not spend much time in this case. Okay, I want to tell, I will tell you two challenges and two benefits. Now I'm going to tell you the benefit. Okay, the challenges is, okay, you have to increase your capability to use information technology, and the second one is you have to increase your classroom management ability, because in the present times, inclusive classroom has been famous. These are challenges. Okay, now the opportunity. Okay, as English learners, as a linguist, okay, you can't take part in some issues of human life. Okay, again, you can take part in some issues of human life. Okay, let's take a linguistic field percent. If we are expert at linguistic, you can take part in the issues of law. This is what we call is linguistic forensic. Linguistic forensic. So linguistic can be used to analyze the law of Indonesia, President. Linguistics also can be used to analyze the investigation of a crime. Linguistics also can be taking part in the issues of interview in the crime issues. So these issues, can be taken by us as a linguist. So in the future, we will have many opportunity to take part in the human life, issues. So I'm going to be happy first, when this forum will be having more discussions about the possible challenges we'll face by the prospective teachers of ours here. And also the opportunity will come, of course. Challenges and opportunity will come together. Okay, so I think that's it. And again, thank you for Mr. William Vickery, for your comings in this forums, and also, of course, thank you very much for Pak Latif as head of English department, and also Bu Reflina, of course, all my students of English master grade program. And I think that's it. By reciting Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We open this forum officially. Thank you. Wallahu muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our sincere gratitude gratitude to the Vice Dean Second of the Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training UIN of North Sumatera, Utara, Dr. Muhammad Dalimunthe M.Hum for the insightful welcoming remarks and strong support for this academic activity. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my great honor to introduce our distinguished speaker. Today we are joined by Mr. William Vickery, Ph.D. from the Regional English Language Office, RELO, USA. Mr. Vickery has extensive experience in English language education and teacher professional development at the international level. So through his work with RELO, he has supported many educational initiatives and professional training programs for English teachers around the world. We are truly honored to have him with us today to share his valuable insights and experience. Without further ado, please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. William Vickery, PhD. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Trani Rizka, for your kind words, and Mohammed Dalimunthe, insightful as always. Certainly, I have what I am going to talk about is very much related to inclusive classroom. And Maslathif Dwi Purnomo, thank you very much for the invitation. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here to talk to all of you. Um, if I may share a PowerPoint, here we go. Oh, wait a minute, one moment, please. Let me stop share. Okay. So, um, I like everyone to reflect on a question. Uh, and that is, will your students use who will your students use English with in the future? A phrase I'm hearing more and more and is getting a lot of exposure in Western academia is global Englishes. So previously, it was more important to prepare students to speak English speakers from native countries such as the US or the UK. Um, However, the vast majority of English speakers are not from English speaking countries anymore. They are non-native speakers from around the world. And communicating with other cultures in English, it requires a often it requires a different set of skills. Um, and I'd like to remind you about Braj Krachu's three circles model, and perhaps many of you have already been exposed to this. But the inner circle are the native English-speaking countries of the UK, New Zealand, Australia, etc. And for the longest time, we privileged the inner circle and we privileged the cultures of the inner circle and their association with the English language. So if you look at a lot of the English language textbooks used all over Asia, they are published by American or British publishers. So the content is very geared toward British and American culture and spreading those values. But that is now under huge amounts of critique and criticism because it's very limited. Because as you can gauge from these numbers, the inner circle number of inner speakers is far less than the expanding circle. The outer circle are mostly former British colonies, former American colonies, where English is basically officially or unofficially their second language, and the expanding circle are such countries as China, Russia, Japan, most of Europe, Korea, etc. And these are the countries that are learning English as a foreign language. Very important to be aware of those cultures and value those cultures as well if we are going to optimize intercultural exchange and we're going to improve our communicative competence as much as possible, then we need to be aware of these other cultures and how they use the English language and what their motivation is. As was already mentioned, I've taught in many countries, and most of my experience is in Japan and China. By far, I've spent the most time in China and Japan, and it's the way China frames it is English for academic purposes. I mostly taught at universities that use English as the medium of study. So as an English educator, I have to prepare the students with the English abilities to be able to get their degrees through the English language. So you'll see a lot of like English for specific purposes. If these are engineering fields, then they need English that's associated with engineering vocabulary. If these are psychology fields, they need the English to be able to write papers and deliver presentations about academic psychology topics. And yeah, I've learned a lot from observing the English education system in these different countries. You already all know that English is used for international research, business, and it's the global lingua franca, which means you're trying to master a certain level of professional English because you want to be able to interact in a business and a professional context with a formal English, which includes higher levels of vocabulary and more complex grammar structures. However, also, since most English communication is happening between English speakers and non-native speakers, and non-native speakers between each other, the priorities and the motivations change a lot in this case. So the capacity to understand and communicate in many cases is much, much, much more important than complete full accuracy, grammar accuracy, and much more important than mimicking some kind of accent. Because you're trying, depending on the student's goals, you're trying to prepare students for international communication, which means you're preparing them for a type of communication that is actually now mostly coming out of the expanding circle countries, non-native English speaking countries. If I may, I would like to play a little game with everybody. So I'm going to play you some English from different countries. So you will hear a person from a different country speaking English. Can everyone please, in the chat, can you write the name of the country that you think the speaker is from? So you're basically going to guess the name of a country, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I'll play an audio and then go ahead and please write the name of the country. Just guess, and I'll remind you, as you should be reminding your own students, that we're practicing and we're just learning, so mistakes are okay. Don't worry about, you're just guessing. So feel free to make a mistake. That's actually a good thing in this context. If I may, wait, let me stop this. And then I will share screen two. Okay. So let's begin. Let's start with an easy one. Um,
We put a peanut butter jelly sandwich in the refrigerator, and I came back later and it had turned black. And I'm like, that's weird, man. Like, what the hell?
Can anyone tell me, can you write in the chat what country do you think that person is from? Anyone, please make your guess. If you could hear, if you heard that audio, write down a country name. What country do you think they're from? Ah, we got an English guesser. Arcana says America. What about it? What about the students? The master's students in the course. What country? Okay, okay. Ainam says USA. Okay, okay. Um, Let me stop you there, because it is that person was American, so that was an American accent. All right, now let's try a little bit more difficult ones. So again, everyone, please listen to the accent and guess what country is this person from?
There has been some rumors that my restaurant is not the finest in all of Paris. These people are fools. They know nothing about food.
What country is that person from? Oh, Arcana and Hasna are guessing France. Okay, okay. Any other guesses? Okay. Ainan is very good at this game. Perhaps Ainan has traveled to other countries before. I don't know. But that was French. That was French. Um, okay, let's try another one. What country is this person from?
What is it with the spiders? They come into my room, I squash them, then another one comes in. I want to know what goes on inside their little brains. They are crazy, yeah?
So, what country? Okay, Arcana says Germany. What else? Any other guesses? Russia? Okay, nice guess. Nice guess. Any other guesses? No other guesses? Well, in this case, oh, okay, good guess. In this case, it was German. It was German. Good job, Arcana. Um, Here, let me just play one more. I'll play one more. What country is this person from?
So I look up into the dark black night sky, and I see all the wonder of the universe before me. All the stars arranged in a certain way, a universe of infinite possibility.
What country is that person from? Ooh, good guess. Any other guesses? You students in attendance, don't be afraid to make mistakes. You must continually do practice active learning. You should be active right now. Oh, Jesse. Jesse's got some good ideas here. Um, Let me stop you there because Jesse is correct. It is China. It's Chinese. Um, so was their English perfect? Probably not. Was their accent easy to understand? Maybe not. If you're used to studying American English or British English, you're going to have trouble understanding the English from different countries, right? Was their grammar perfect? I really doubted. Um, the question is, are you able to understand them? Um, like I mentioned before, most of my experience is with Chinese and Japanese students. And I will say that the vast majority of university positions, English teachers at the university level, perhaps even at other levels, I'm not sure. Japan and China have some of the most jobs that are available. So, how do you interact with Japanese and Chinese people in English? How would you engage the classroom in English? Because these cultures are very different. For example, they have very different classroom participation styles. Chinese students at the university level are more willing to speak publicly. They're more willing to answer questions. They're more comfortable speaking in front of the class. And Japanese students are much more cautious. Much more cautious. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Let me turn this off. Let me share the PowerPoint. 0. Sorry. One one moment. I want to make sure that PowerPoint is there so you guys can see. Um, okay. Share. Here we go. So, yeah, I mentioned classroom participation style. Japanese students are much more shy, unwilling to volunteer answers. Um, if you unwilling to make eye contact, that's very difficult for them. Longer silences, so adjusting to periods of like even something like that, like how much silence do you give students before you offer feedback or before you move on, will change a lot from culture to culture. Um, I think in Chinese education, they value competition and visible participation a little more. They rewarded that in their high schools, whereas in Japan, they rewarded social harmony. And the goal was avoiding embarrassment, avoiding losing face. This changes completely how you interact with the classroom. Um, Risk taking, I would say Chinese students are more willing to take risk and are more comfortable with imperfect English. Indonesians and Chinese, I think, are a bit closer in terms of risk taking. I'm noticing in Indonesia, although many students do feel awkward and shy, and they are, some of them are embarrassed to make mistakes. More of them seem to be willing to make those mistakes. Uh, And I have to remind you, according to a lot of English language learning theories, the mistakes are integral. They have to make those mistakes. Otherwise, the cognitive processing of the language will not be optimum if they're not testing in that way and experimenting in that way. Japanese are accuracy oriented. They care about precision. They think longer before speaking, and they produce a short answer than a long answer to remain precise and correct. But one of the biggest reasons why Japan it has maybe the worst English in Asia. They are one of the most international countries with the internet number of international tourists and international business, and they're one of the most modern countries in the world. Yet their English is one of the worst in the world. What is the reason for this? It's not from lack of intelligence, right? It's cultural. So understanding that culture is vital for being able to interact with these folks in a manner that will best improve their English skills. The relationship to the authority and the teacher. I mean, all Asian cultures respect authority, though Chinese are a little bit more willing to question you and challenge you, whereas Japanese would never even, or less willing even to make eye contact with you is difficult for a Japanese student if you're an authority figure. They usually avoid asking questions or challenging the teacher. The hesitate to Chinese are unwilling to disagree, with an authority figure in public in front of a class. I feel like in Indonesia, students are a little more brave about that. I noticed that if I tell a student it's okay to disagree, they'll disagree and they'll say their opinion, which is a good trait. I could see why Indonesians' English levels improve faster than Japanese. It's partly because of the culture, the way they treat social dynamics, and the way they think about face in public settings changes their thinking quite a lot. Chinese students, similar to Indonesian students, are energetic and talkative. They're a bit more active in group activities. Japanese students care about balance and harmony, like I mentioned before. So students would avoid dominating a conversation. They'll take turns more cautiously and carefully. So not quite as talkative and energetic, but they can be motivated to do so. They can be motivated to be more talkative and energetic if you understand the culture a little better and you approach them in the best way possible. Just some things to think about, because a lot of when we're talking about global Englishes, we're talking about intercultural communication, how to master that skill. I would like to briefly mention that I've observed three major shifts for English teachers in this process since I started 20 years ago. And the language knowledge, I feel like, is now less important than communicative capability. So with shift one, you want students to explain ideas and negotiate meaning and manage misunderstandings in English. I notice for Indonesian students, they have a difficulty saying, I don't understand. This phrase, I don't understand, or I don't know. I don't know. Indonesian students don't like to say that. And I guess it's because maybe they're embarrassed if they don't understand, or maybe they think it's an insult to the teacher because the teacher didn't explain correctly. But negotiating meaning in the English language and managing misunderstandings in English is a key part of English language development. And I notice in Indonesia, if they don't understand, they'll use Indonesian, right? Okay, I don't know what word to say. Let me just ask my neighbor in Indonesian. Then I can use the English. Okay, that's okay sometimes, but I notice Indonesian students do it all the time. That's not good because students need the English to repair the misunderstandings. That is a skill that they should be practicing. Students need to maximize English input and output. Translation actually cuts into that time. if they're using Indonesian at all to translate in the class, they are losing the opportunity to practice repairing misunderstanding, to use whatever skills they have to negotiate meaning, using context, using unrelated vocabulary, using body language and facial expressions. You should always encourage students to try to manage their misunderstandings in the English language. That's a hard habit to break, to because if they're in another country, if they're outside of Indonesia, they won't be able to use any Indonesian, right? And that should be the goal right now, is to prepare students for that possibility to flourish, to understand in a foreign country, as a teacher, as a student, whatever. Um, and collaboration is important, but not only collaboration with Indonesian students is important, they should be able to collaborate with other countries as well. And this should be encouraged. You should be exposing students to alternate accents, discussing cultural values in class of other cultures, using global text, right? Texts that are spanning across the world to get better insight into the thinking of other cultures and how and those people, and by extension how they use English, how they interact. How do you manage misunderstanding while respecting the local culture without the use of Indonesian? Um, Very important, I think. And English is that lingua franca, important for global communication. And like I've been saying since the beginning, that most English interactions between your students and are gonna in English are gonna be between non-native speakers, right? You live in Southeast Asia. I notice a lot of your students, or a lot of Indonesian students are traveling to Thailand, right? They're traveling to Vietnam. They're traveling to Cambodia. Well, there's no Indonesian in those countries, and there's very few native English speakers in those countries. So how do those people speak English? What do they think about English? What motivates them in the English language? How does their pop culture influence their English abilities? Communication strategies are vital, right? to to continually develop and to blossom to your fullest potential. Being aware of such factors is really, really important. And I won't talk much about this, but because I think actually a lot of Indonesians are very aware of technology and the potential of technology, and the dangers of technology, right? Um, the um, the risk of AI is quite well known, I noticed in this school and other schools in Indonesia. So students using AI to develop their English skills, there's a lot of I'm not that that's a whole other talk, but I'm a bit worried. I'm very worried, actually. Us teachers in the older generation, we had to go through our education with zero AI, right? We had to struggle and challenge ourselves in ways that are easy to avoid now with these digital tools. So there's so many valuable potential, but there's so many dangers in terms of um, limiting development. It'll be like cognitive development also happens in the process of learning a language. Using digital tools to take a shortcut is going to be a problem in the future, and we need to prepare for it. We need to learn how to engage these tools. And I'm definitely having trouble with it. Like I don't even know how to make a good PowerPoint, honestly. My students' PowerPoints are much more beautiful than my PowerPoints, for sure. I'm still learning that, so I gotta learn AI now. But using these tools for students are now accessing material digitally, and these are materials that are originating in cultures, every culture in the world, or almost every culture in the world. And this is impacting their mindset, their motivation, their understanding of the English language, and their potential. Now, the ability to access global, international scholarships, to speak at international conferences, so many opportunities for everyone to speak at a conference in other countries. All you got to do is search in Google conferences, English language conference. You'll see list and list and list of conferences happening in multiple countries. You should have the skills to be able to deliver a presentation at one of those conferences. That would be great. So the opportunity for professional development at a global level is now greater than ever. It's an exciting time, I think, to be doing a master's degree. If some of you are master's students and you'll be soon graduating, the gap in many cultures in Asia is that too many classrooms are still focusing on grammar and exams, whereas improving communicative competence should be the priority. Students still have to take the exams, right, to get into university. So how do you balance that? How do you balance examination preparation with more communication practice? Um, Students need to practice using the language as much as possible in the classroom. I don't have to remind you that in an EFL environment, students are not using English outside of the class. And according to many English language learning theories, even the cognitive theory of English language learning says that the brain is partly a language learning machine. But for that machine to work optimally, you need to maximize the input, maximize the English input, and maximize the English output through constant exposure or as much exposure to the English language as possible, which is why they should be writing in English, speaking in English, listening to English as much as possible outside of the class and certainly inside the class. Which means that teachers are going to have to improve their English skills a lot. Okay? Can you imagine I told you in Japan how the students have real problems with the English language? Well, the English teachers in Japan, they can't really speak English, yet they're teaching English. You can imagine how that's going to make it very difficult to help the students develop their English skills in the best way possible. Right now it's impossible. So, which is why they're going through a lot of changes right now, as is most of the expanding countries, and the way they approach English language education is changing a lot. So please, I keep reminding my students, my pre-service teachers, or students in workshops that communicative language teaching is now all the fashion and all the rage. If you end up teaching in Asia somewhere or America, you're gonna be seeing this. The idea is to make English as interactive and to maximize student talk time. If the teacher's talking more than the student in certain types of English classes, then that could be a problem. Different ways to set up discussions, role plays, group tasks. This is why task-based learning, project-based learning is so important now. You want to encourage the active use of English as much as possible. And it should be meaningful. It should have real world relevance. You're practicing English that is not only applicable inside the classroom, it's applicable in countless situations outside the classroom. And in that process, your students are going to make lots of mistakes. So that in itself is a skill. What type of feedback to give, when to correct mistakes, when to let the mistakes go by, is a very important skill in itself. One that I'm still learning as well. And as I've already been discussing this whole time, the culture, intercultural awareness is paramount. So how much of alternate cultures are we exposing students to in class? It's going to be increasingly important. What topics are relevant globally? Which countries are certain topics are relevant in some countries and not relevant in others? But encouraging the qualities of critical thinking, curiosity, respect, tolerance, openness is key for maximizing one's English capabilities. Deep learning, I notice, is a popular approach now in Indonesia, and this is all tied up into deep learning as well. And that is a good approach. It's really important. And we already talked a little bit about the digital world and how that interacts with the global community. So I'll leave that behind for now. But yeah, you guys who are about to be English teachers, who are English teachers, task-based learning activities are great. Have students work in groups to accomplish specific tasks and solve certain problems. Have them do that process in English because students are going to use any Indonesian they can to take a shortcut in the process of solving a problem in English, in the process of producing a project in English. They need to negotiate meaning. They need to repair understanding. They need functional language like agreeing and disagreeing, assigning task, taking on roles like leadership roles or note-taking roles. They should be able to do all of these things in English. And to do that, they just have to constantly process that input and output in English, constantly test their language capability, which means constantly making mistakes. If they make a beautiful project or they solve a problem beautifully, but they did most of it in Indonesian, then they miss the point of these strategies. So yeah, as English teachers, you're not just teaching English, you're not just expressing knowledge of English, you're preparing the students to participate in global communication with a global community in multiple cultures that all have different Englishes. How do we do that? But by doing this, you will expand the students' opportunities worldwide, and that's what we want to do. Open the doors to the world through the English language, and I think that's what's been happening, and it's going to continue to happen. And hopefully, we find the ways to best make that happen because the world is changing rapidly every day, right? Change is happening faster and faster. It's difficult to keep up. But I'll leave you with that. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to talk with all of you today. And I will finish my presentation there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vickery, for the insightful and inspiring presentation. We truly appreciate the engaging session, especially the fun activity where we had the opportunity to guess different accents. It was not only informative, but also very interactive and enjoyable for all of us. Your explanation has given us valuable perspectives on how English teachers can continuously improve their professional quality and expand their opportunities in the global context. So now we will move to the discussion and question session, which is always one of the most exciting parts of our forum. For participants who would like to ask questions, please feel free to raise your hand or write your question in the chat box. Please also briefly introduce yourself before asking your question. And let's begin the first question.
Bisa, Khairani, I'm first maybe. Sambil menunggu yang lain mungkin.
Of course, please, Mr. Dalimunthe, for the first question.
Okay, thank you, moderators. Thank you, Mr. William, Okay, has given us a very fruitful presentation, very fruitful knowledge regarding teachers' challenges and opportunity in a future time. Okay, one thing that attract my attention to your presentations is about, classroom management. Yeah, how to manage the students need diversity. Yeah, how to manage student need diversity, because this is one of particular challenges for teachers in terms of, okay, to run their professions as a teacher. Could you tell me your own experience, okay, during you have understood, okay, about the implementations of inclusive classroom management at your country? It's mean in Indonesia. I'm wondering that, okay, we have some differences, applications of classroom inclusive classroom management in Indonesia. I have ever done small research dealing with inclusive education in Sumatera. In North Sumatra, once if there is a classroom, inclusive classroom, so there are two teachers will, come with the student with special need. One thing is you have a main teacher and another one is a shadow teachers. I don't know whether this simple work also happens in your country dealing with classroom management of school. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. How to maintain an inclusive classroom environment. I mean, especially in a place like America or America and Indonesia, something they have in common is they're very diverse.
Yeah.
They come from multiple ethnic and language backgrounds. There's many languages spoken in Indonesia, right? A lot of people come from difficult socioeconomic backgrounds. They come from rural environments with limited technology. Maybe a lot of them are first generation university students. They're people in their families that have studied in English, and ooh, yeah, it's a big challenge for me. Is for me how to allow these people, how to respect that diversity, and give all of them equal opportunity or equal access to learning is I don't know, it's a challenge. Or even like mixed levels, right? Because all these classes have low level English students and high level English students. How to accommodate all of them. And I believe that giving the students as much personal attention as possible is important. I think we should look at class sizes, right? Most of my classes are between 20 and 30 students. So I can engage these students individually and give, like, I could, maybe the students from a lower economic background have more difficulty using technology. Well, then I will have to address that, and while making eye contact with that student to the class, how to use this technology in the best way possible. And one moment, please. My computer is almost out of battery, and my charger is not working. Okay. Okay. Speaking of technological issues, even I have them and have to adjust accordingly. Um, the students who have they're the first generation students in a university lack confidence. So attention to the differences and appropriate response. Either you make that response by approaching the student individually, or you address the class with that response. Those first generation students are gonna lack confidence, lack social confidence. Maybe they it's harder for them to adjust to university life. So then we should have topics directly about university life and adjusting to it. Lessons specifically geared toward building confidence in those students. Um, yeah, I think it seems like no matter what, like if there's gonna be students that the students also have to have these values of respecting diversity and understanding that everybody deserves equal access to these opportunities. So students also have to become tolerant and become accommodating. Because if you, I mean, I want to teach something challenging for the high level students, but I want the low level students to understand. So I'm gonna have to do both, right? I'm gonna have to firstly, prepare the lower level students with some easier English to so they can practice and build their skills to be able to apply that kind of communication to more difficult structures or higher level vocabulary and difficult topics. And I always encourage, which I think Indonesia is good at, to peer learning and peer support. Sometimes I will approach the high level students and say, "Oh, like, can you help them? You know, can you help this student? Put them as partners, and they kind of take on a leadership role and assist with that person's English development because they have more experience or they have better English skills." So role different students in the class can be taking on different roles, to maximize inclusiveness. Um, yeah, that's just a couple of ideas. I don't know. It's a difficult issue, I think. Um,
Thank
Yes.
you.
what do you
Drew,
think? What do you think um, about that? I mean, how do you create? How do you think
yes,
How do you create
of
the most
course.
inclusive?
Okay. We have some distinction, okay, and inclusive classroom management implementation in Indonesia. You
Yeah.
know, inclusive school in Indonesia is established by private, yeah, by private, founder. So the budgeting is totally responsible on the owner. So that's why, okay, the limited facilities still be found in that school. So sometimes the school need more facilities, but because of the lack of funding, so they can fulfill the student needs, yeah, in terms of their uh, daily need at the school. So that's why, of course, based on your own explanations, yeah, I got some different things. Yeah, I got some different things in Indonesia. Uh, I have ever done a research dealing with this in private Islamic school, okay, in Sumatera. Yeah, of course. Okay, they give special treatment to the student who has special needs. But my consideration is, okay, is not fulfilled yet. It's not fulfilled yet. Just just part of the needs can be fulfilled by the school. When I was asking that why, okay, the first ones, if they fulfill the whole student needs, of course they need much money for that. they need much funding for that. But the parents, are not ready to field, yeah, are not ready to pay, okay, as much as that school want. So yeah,
Oh, that's
just
very
I want to ask
interesting.
one question more, sir.
Very interesting.
Drew moderator, yeah. And I want to ask one question more. In your country, does no, in your country, do the student parents take part, okay, to design the curriculum contents, yeah, for student with special needs, sir?
The Not usually.
No,
That's up to the teachers. Though teachers are encouraged to get feedback from students. You'll see a lot in America, teacher evaluations, curriculum evaluations that are done by students.
Mhm.
And some schools and some teachers will take that feedback into consideration in curriculum development. Some not. So, but it's always finally the teachers and the administrators and the curriculum design, the researchers and the curriculum design experts that are doing that.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the interesting question, and also thank you so much for the insightful explanation from our speaker. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question? Please don't be shy. Feel free to share your thoughts or questions.
Disarankan di on kameranya dong, kawan-kawan. Kameranya di on kan? Oke, silakan. Silakan moderator izin.
Yes. Is there anyone else? Maybe Arcana? You would like to ask a question to our speaker? Oh, everyone Situmorang, please, Mr.
Okay, thank you very much for the moderator for this opportunity, and thank you very much for Sir William for the explanation. One of that really interesting when you mentioned about one of the issue that usually we face in the school is to balance about the purpose of the students to get the high score in the test and also to interactive skill like speaking. For in Indonesian case, because the senior high school students purpose in learning English is to get the university admission to pass the university admission, and the requirement to get it is just reading. It means that there's no speaking. It means that they uh, don't really be trained to be active in speaking in the schools. So, do you have ever faced any situation like this in many countries, in some of the countries or schools, and they have a great solution about this situation, sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Efriswan, for your question. I love it when students ask questions or people ask questions in these group settings because that's great practice. That's a great skill to have. Yeah, I face this in every country in Asia. Korea, when I worked in Korea, it's the same problem. Japan's the same problem. China's the same problem. They need to pass the examinations in high school. The examinations are focused on grammar and memorizing vocabulary, reading and writing, not really speaking. Um, and that's a big reason why there are efforts like RELO, like the U.S. Department of State RELO's office is trying to encourage this communicative language teaching to balance that problem because of the lack of communication skills is so common across Asia. And there is not any fix. I mean, the fixes that I know are all like happening as extra education. Like if a student wants to join a conversation school outside of their normal studies, or if the student wants to take their own, make their own efforts to do language exchange online with a foreign speaker. This is all extra work, but that's hard to do. Most students don't want to do that because they're already so stressed. They already have too much work to do. They need to be able to pass the exam. Um, I know that because I know that in a lot of secondary education in Indonesia, they use the genre-based teaching, which are based on just genre text. You have like persuasive text and like all the different genres of text, and we're focused on like understanding those and then writing your own text. But is there any way to make that process more communicative? How do you maximize communication practice in the process of understanding and writing a text? Because there are some things you could do, you know. There are ways to make students interact in ways that improve their reading and writing skill. And I think I don't know, I've seen interesting material on this, but it's hard, especially let's say the class has 40 or 50 students, then a lot of that is impractical. Let's say the class is short. Classes don't have enough time. You can't like the problem with communicative language teaching is you need a lot of time because you need the students to talk to each other, make the mistakes, build the knowledge together. That takes so long. It's much quicker for the teacher to just give the knowledge, right? The teacher will give the knowledge, then it's way faster, and then the students will just do the work. Um, so yeah, I would say that that's a challenge all over Asia. And I think a lot of university programs are now doing a good job of focusing because they have speaking classes and you have communication classes in university that are not fully based on that, where there's less examination pressure. And I think they're starting to remedy that at the university level. But as far as like the high school level, I don't know, there's not really because it's the national curriculum, right? These are government implemented demands that I don't know. That means if that's going to change, that would be a change at the government level, at the structural, foundational level, which I've never really addressed or I've never really looked at. Because I'm sure also the examination-based system has many benefits as well. So we can't forget about the benefits of the existing system. Um, yeah, I hope I answered your question. I don't know.
Yes, thank you so
Okay.
much for your explanation, sir. So, is there anyone else who would like to ask a question? One more question, maybe? Okay. Uh, I think if there are no more questions, we will move to the next session. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have now to come to the final part of today's session. Before we officially close this graduate academic forum, I would like to invite our speaker to deliver the closing remarks for today's event. So, Mr. William Vickery, Ph.D., the floor is yours, sir.
I think I said everything I'd like to say.
Oh,
But it was very great, very much an honor to talk with everyone here today. I love to engage graduate students because I'm sure all of you probably have a lot of passion about this subject, about English language education. I hope you all have passion because that's very important for having that motivation to do all the work and keep on doing professional development so you can help students as much as possible. And yeah, I miss being a graduate student. I think it's a great time to be alive. It's such a powerful learning time in one's life where they're learning some of the most they'll ever learn. And yeah, even just the fact that you attend an event like this kind of shows me that you're passionate and motivated to some degree. And I would encourage you to do whatever you can to maintain that motivation. It's easy to get lazy. Very easy to get lazy. I'm very lazy, I will say. I have to find ways to excite myself, find ways to challenge myself, push myself to the challenge, even though I don't want to do it. It's best if you do it, you'll be happy you did in the long run. And I think events like this is a good way to push and challenge yourself. Even if you are feeling lazy or bored sometimes, you're getting more English input. Your cognition is processing this input at an unconscious level most of the time. And I encourage you to continue to maximize your exposure to English language and professional development in any way you can. And it'll pay off. You'll see the benefits in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Vickery, for the valuable closing remarks and for sharing your knowledge and insights with us today. It has been a truly enriching and inspiring session for all participants. As a token of our presentation, we would now to like proceed with the certificate presentation to our distinguished speaker. We would like to invite Mr. Dalimunthe from the Master's Program in English Education to present the certificate to Mr. William Vickery, Ph.D. Wait, I share this. Okay, Mr. Dalimunthe, please kindly to hand over the certificate.
Okay. Thank you, moderator, and all participants. Now, this is the time for us to give the certificate of appreciation to the great speaker, okay, in this moment, okay, William Vickery, PhD. Yeah, this is the certificate presentation from Master English Grade Program, okay, of Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training. Representations of Mr. Latif as the head of English department, okay, Master English department. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the certificate looks great. Amazing.
I hope so. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So last but not least, we will take a photo session to document to this event. Please, for all the participants, turn on the camera and give your best smile. Okay.
Yang lain, others please. Sarmila, Dia, Ayus, Rai, Rezeki.
Turn on your camera, please. Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, due to our limitation, we have come to end today's session. On behalf of the Master's Program in English Education, UIN of North Sumatera Utara, UIN of North Sumatra, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to Mr. William Vickery, PhD, for sharing such a valuable knowledge and experience with us today. And to all the participants, thank you so much for your active participation and enthusiasm throughout this session. So we hope today's discussion has broadened our perspective and inspire us to continue developing our professional competency. Thank you once again for joining to this guest lecture session. We look forward to seeing you in our next weekly academic forum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. William. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much,
William.
everyone. I really
All
appreciate it.
right. I'm
Thank you.
leaving.
Thank you.
Ya, Dek.